Today we're working on a 2005 Chevy Impala. We're going to be replacing the heater core. Doing research on the internet, YouTube and such, video sources. There was not a very explanatory video of how to do this, so I'm going to help lighten the YouTubers and the universe out there to help people that cannot afford to take it to a radiator shop and or mechanic shop to have the heater core replaced. This video should cover Chevy Impalas from year 2000 to 2005 with the 3.4 and the 3.8 liter Series 2 engine in it, as well as the 3.8 supercharged. So here we go. So now we're going to disconnect the heater core from underneath the engine compartment. The first thing we want to do is make sure that the car is not up to temperature hot to where you get hurt dropping the fluid. Check your hoses to make sure they're cool to touch, no pressures on them, that you can squeeze them, there's no pressure. You got pressure on them and you go to drop the antifreeze, it can blow back, and if it's hot it can burn the holy crud out of you. You want to have your car supported with ramps or good with jack stands, so that way it doesn't come down on you, because you'll go underneath the car and you'll open your petcock, which drains the antifreeze. On the Impalas, it is on the driver's side at the bottom of the radiator, and we're going to crawl down there and do that now. Put the drop light down in here to see so I don't take it with me. And crawl down here under the car, and we have our bucket ready to get the fluid. As we look down here, you guys can see right here is the petcock on the 2000 to 2005 Impalas on the radiator. Should have a little wing on there. Mine's broke off, but the little wing, you should be able to grab it and spin it. So I'm going to use a pair of pliers to help break it free. So what I'm going to do, again trying to do it one-handed, pair of pliers would not work, but a 19 millimeter will fit on it, socket. Still got a socket on there. And turn to the left, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, and I've got it loose enough. I've got it loose here to where I'm moving it by hand in just a second. Move and put my bucket right under here, because this nipple, I know it's hard for you guys to see, but there's a nipple right here. The fluid will start coming out once I open it up. Nipple back on. Here we go. We're opening her up. Now, and you see the stream coming down into the bucket. You want to use the bucket to catch so you can use your existing fluid. It's not coming out that quick, so we're going to give it some air. Come back up top. And to give it air, we are going to open the radiator cap. Opening the radiator cap will allow it to get air to pull the fluid down. And pull the radiator cap, and that's on the passenger side at the top by the battery. And as we see, there's more fluid coming down. As we speak, I'm going to see if I can open her a little bit more. Opening her more, and you see more of the fluid pouring out, and there's that nipple right there. It's just right above the petcock right here, right above that, and that allows your fluid to drain out. Open it all the way up so it comes out fairly quick, like such. We also want to mention that you need to do is undo the negative battery cable. Undo your negative battery cable so that way you don't cause no sparks or set no airbags off or anything to where you get hurt. So you can do that simply by using a pair of pliers or a battery terminal pliers and or wrench. And just give her a good twist. Set the camera down and I'll take that off. And so after you drain the antifreeze and you got your system low on fluid, you locate your heater core hoses, which are actually right here is the upper and right below it's the lower. You have the funny looking clips on there. If you guys can actually see the clip, which is, I can't really point clearly, that's the clip. You take a pair of pliers on this top and this bottom deal right there, you spring it and you'll slide it towards the engine, which will unfree the hose full of clips. So then you would twist the hose to break it free and then wiggle it off. Do that to the upper and lower hose, and once you do that, it is free from hoses on the engine side. Once you undo your hoses, the heater core necks, which are right here, and the one that looks just like it right below it, that's what those look like. And talking about the special spring clips, they're actually dealership factory clips. That's what they are right here. As you can see, you can't use a screwdriver. They sell a special pair of pliers for them, but you can do it with the regular pair of pliers. You just grab onto them like such, and you squeeze them and you'll move them. You gotta squeeze them and slide them and then let go and they clamp back down. I think they're junk. I will replace them with the screwdriver flathead or star tip. Normally an 8mm socket will tighten them down easy too. That way I get rid of the OEM junk clips, because that's all they are, is junk. And then from that point, your heater core hoses are free and clear, just like such. Lay them on top. I did remove the dipstick tube for the transmission, or the dipstick out of the tube from the transmission. And I removed the plastic cover that sits on top, which is a decorative cover that, you know, probably 3800 series 2. And to do that, the oil filler neck, pretty much what it does is it twists and give a little wiggle and it pulls right off. You slip that back down on there. There's a notch right here. A notch right there that this tip slips into, and then the front sets right in front of the motor mount pulling bracket. Now, I would slip that back in there for now and put your dill back on there so nothing gets down in your engine, and you just slip it back in the notch and twist it back upright. As the book calls, the repair manual, as we're going to show you, the fuse panel compartment right here, I'm going to pull that just in case I have to pull this entire front panel cover, because most commonly a lot of these cars you need to remove almost the entire dash. So the book is claiming you don't have to remove the entire dash. So on this note, you grab that and you pull, and we're going to set that aside. Most commonly right behind here, I've pre-pulled it. Right here you have a 9/32, can be a 1/4 inch drive socket and socket driver that will pull this bolt out. After you pull the fuse panel, you have a kick panel on the passenger side, which is right here. What you have is a couple clips one here, and one over here, that what they do is you push in and pull down and it releases. You push in, pull down, and it releases. Do the same on the other side, pull down and it releases. You also have, and I actually pre-done it, when you pull the kick panel down, you have the light bulb wiring that you want to twist and pull out, pull your light bulb out so it doesn't stay on. But in addition, that holds this kick panel in, right here, as you guys see, is a perforated push clip that you're going to mess up when you pull it out regardless, and you'll be lucky if it stays up in there. You can buy them at AutoZone or O'Reilly's, even online, little to nothing in the help section. And that's how you get the kick panel on the passenger side down. Over here on the driver's side, and you're going to repeat the process, you have another fuse panel on this side, which is right here. You're going to, again, grabbing the hole, kind of give it a little pull, and it pops right off. And then when you get down underneath, you have a kick panel, you have a screw by the accelerator pedal right here, might be a 10mm nut. You have a couple clips, one here, and one here. You'll undo those clips, that pops down, you have a light connected right in here. Pull the light connector, take out the bulb so it doesn't remain on. From that point, we give that a little pull, and she should slide right off, like so. From that point, you have a 9/32 screw here and here. You undo those with a little 1/4" ratchet or ratchet driver. You grab this right here, you're going to pull up and it pops a clip, and same with the other side here. You got to be very careful because you don't want to break them. I popped that loose. I had to shut the camera off to do such. Here is the clips that I'm talking about. There's one right here, and then of course one right there. But you also have the trunk release, which is right there. You have to undo the wire connector, which is right here. In addition, if you have to pull the entire dash piece that goes all the way across out, you also have a 9/32 screw right here that you also want to pull, so it's already out, just in case. So looking at things, now that we have everything, the kick panels and fuse panels out, what we got to do is pull this entire console panel out. And from looking at things, you have right here, as you can see, this hole, which is right here. You have this funny looking clip. I don't know if y'all can see that, but you got this funny looking clip that this center pops out to help release this clip. And if you stick a flat-headed screwdriver back behind here, you can pry on that little nipple to get this little nipple right here to get the center to pop out, so this pulls out easy. So I'm going to go do the other side as well, but before we do that, you have to pull the shift knob and this black center piece out with this here. So how we do that is, let's set you right up here. Well, no, that ain't gonna work because you can't see. You take and you grab your rubber boot here, and you got to slip it down. Kind of hard to do by hand. I'm getting her though. You slip her down. Oop, sorry about that, peeps. You slip it down, being very gentle so you don't rip it. And now that we have it slipped down, what we have here is, I don't know if you guys can see it, but right up in here is a clip that we have to pull out. So on that clip, if we take a hooked pick, we can pop that clip out. Normally, if you come to this side, you should be able to go ahead and push it out by slipping right into here, and it's not going to want to go that way. So we're going to come to this side and get our pick in here. If you guys could see it, you know, don't help much, but doing this one person, you slip your pick in there and you kind of bend out, and that slides out. If you guys can see the clip sliding out, you pull that clip totally out like so. That's what the clip looks like. And you take your shifter and give it a little bit of force pulling up. Not much, just a little bit. Now your shifter's removed. You set that to the side. I like to actually put my clip so I don't lose it, because that's very crucial to keeping that on there. Back in the hole here is what I like to do, and push it back down so it's in there. So that way, yeah. So that way it's in the hole. Then from that point, we're going to come back over here. The center is held in by clips. Everything's pretty much held in by clips. Notice if you take a flat-headed screwdriver, a thinner one, you kind of slip it down in here and kind of work it to where it pops up all the way around. You can give it a little pry. Don't pry too hard, you'll bust it. All the way around. And we're going to come to this side here, and I'll show you. And you'll hear the pop. Hear that pop? Never mind my dirt. And come to this side. You just slowly work it around. Another pop. See it coming up? Pop. 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 Now, well, we got one more up front here. We're prying up. And come up front. Pop. See it pull up. And now we're going to lift the centerpiece up like so and pull it out. And you have your cigarette lighter right underneath of it, or alternative power. You know, flip it upside down here. You have this to where you spring it in. You spring it in and you pull upward, and now that's set aside. I removed the black piece and come to find out that after pulling it out and I flipped it upside down, as I said, you guys got to be careful or you're going to break your clips. If we notice, all of these weren't the clips popping. I broke them all the way around. So, looking at the situation, what you want to do is right here above the cup holder was the only clips that I saved. Pop those two free, which will be setting, if you have the console method, will be setting just like such. Reach down right in here and pull up and pop those two only. Once you do that, you want to lift your console door up. This piece is still attached. You're only popping the two front clips. You grab this piece and you pull hard and it pops up. This whole center piece. This all should slide up. You rotate it enough, like such, you can get to that wire and unclip it, which would leave you with all of this attached. all of this attached as one piece. If you do, like I stated prior to, you will break all your clips, and you either have to figure a way how to repair it, buy this part brand new, or be lucky and get one out of a salvage yard and not break the clips again. Have to pull the other small little connector piece out on this other side for this piece here. If you have it, that's an extra cubby hole for CD players, and or there's an ashtray there, whatever your car come out with. But there's the clip for this side here. Once you pull the two screws, it was down in here, one here and one here. Apparently this is free as can be. You got a couple clips up behind here, and you got to kind of give it a good firm snug pull to release the clips. And the clips hold in pretty good, so, and good firm pull. Like I said, I popped this free because it's held in by clips too. And so that way, because already I hit this, so it's hanging up on it, so it's a good thing I popped that free. Pop that side, and that slips down. You gotta finagle it out of here. Finagle it out of here, like so. Now you got that piece free. We'll set her aside as well. From this point, we have this whole centerpiece that now has to come out. What is holding that in? Well, we'll show you. Right down here, if you see, right there, right here is a 10mm bolt. You look right here, on this side and the other side is a 9/32 either socket or Phillips screw. This bolt, which is 10mm on this side, there's one adjacent on that side. You look right here, you have a bracket. On that bracket, you have a 9/32 bolt, and you have two 10mm here and here that holds this bracket onto the console. From that point, as we come in here, you have this compartment here that actually has 4 bolts hidden. You see these holes right here, here and here. 9/32 screws are down in that hole, but to get to these hidden screws that are in here, you have this rubber piece that is down in there. I grabbed this lip and pulled up to slip this out. So what I'm going to do now is undo all the bolts so we can remove it. And you pulled all them bolts and your console slips right up, with one exception. On this wire right here, if you're equipped with the rear cigarette lighter or accessory plug-in, you have to unclip this wire that attaches to that. Also, when you undo the 2 bolts off this bracket, you also need to undo these 2 bolts so this bracket slides to make it come out easier. Once you've got all that undone, you're close to home of freedom. If you look up under here, we will now work on pulling the carpet back right up through here from this side of the passenger all the way to the driver's side, so we can access this box and get it unscrewed, so that way we can remove this ductwork to access our heater core. So, to get the carpet out, you're going to have to roll the carpet back, you're going to have to pull these toe kick pieces that run from the door jamb from here up to here on each the driver and passenger side, so you can pull the carpet back enough, because the heater duct runs actually up and over the carpet, or up and under through the carpet to all the way down here for vents in the rear and underneath the seat. That is the passenger side, and as you see, you have these clips. There's 1, 2, 3 before. So let's go around to the driver's side, and hopefully I can set the camera up for you to see how to do it on the driver's side. Let's go around the car here to the driver's side. Drag my light over here, and that way you guys can see. We're gonna set the camera right here, and hopefully you guys can see me do it. And as we popped it up, and you're gonna pop that. If you heard the little pop there, now that one's free, and that's for the driver's side. Possibly, if you can, stick your parts that pertain to each side so you don't get confused. A lot of them are stamped right and left. Sitting behind the steering wheel as the driver, your left is the driver's side, your right would be the passenger side. So now that we have that moved out of the way, I'm going to re-angle the camera here and start working back the carpet further, starting with the driver's side. You want to kind of be careful. You don't want to rip your carpet. You want to kind of keep it good. Pull it back. Like such. Get a little snug because we're up in there. So there's that side. And we're going to let it hang free, and we're going to go over to the passenger side and do that side. Bear with me, guys. I'm on the passenger side. I re-angle my camera here. Hopefully you guys can see this. Kind of hard to look at the camera and do this at the same time. So get this worked out. We don't want to tear nothing up. It's the point is not to break nothing. We already broke one piece. Pull that back. Like so. Give her a little tug. She is kind of heavy. You see my piece of carpet blocking your view. There's that. Get our drop light back. You can see the duct work is up underneath the carpet. It's all connected into there. It all has to come out. So give me a minute. I'll be back. I'm going to pull up the rest of the carpet so I can remove the duct work. While I'm at it though, before I pause you, don't know we can get a good enough shot up underneath here. You can see right here is a 7/32 screw head on this side and the other side. You'll remove those, and if I believe that should pull this whole housing out. The center ductwork that goes to the back, you have to pull both driver and passenger seat out. There is two 15mm bolts on the back side of the brackets for each seat. You pull those two bolts, you will tilt them forward to remove them out of a front lock mechanism, and when you tilt them forward, you have to pull to get them out of the front lock mechanism. From that point, you can get the carpet slid all the way back to get to the center ductwork that has to come out. To get the center ductwork out, you have to grab it and pull up because it locks into little snap holes, and you pull up, and then that center ductwork does come out. The 2-in-1 special is if you've got your heater core leaking on the inside, I guess you can go ahead and pull your carpet out so it dries out. A better example right here to show you the heater core is leaking on the inside of the car. Watch when I squeeze it. Can you see the fluid coming out? See it? That's your antifreeze. That's the antifreeze soaked into the carpet. It's all wet through there, all wet. Another thing the book doesn't state, or the directions don't state, that you get from like AutoZone or whatever, is when you pull all your little gold color screws out, it acts like they act like it's free. That's incorrect. After doing research on YouTube and not even finding it from the Impalas, I found it out of a Chevy Monte Carlo, which is almost the same. You have, the GM did. Why it's ignorant, I have no clue, but I'll try to point one out so you can see what I'm talking about. You have, if you see right here, use a pointer. You see right here, what I'm pointing at right here is a factory rivet that is plastic. They're all through this bottom housing. You have to drill those with the cordless drill or such, power drill, whatever, to get those out, to be able to remove this bottom housing after you pull all the bolts out. It just does not come out freely unless you drill those. A lot of YouTube videos out there, but nobody is being really explanatory. 2-minute, 3-minute, 5-minute videos, and you have to look at 50 different videos to even know how the heck to get this out, and you're still guessing. So that's why I'm making this video. Now I'm going to drill these out so I can remove this. I did tell you that on YouTube, noticing people were taking and drilling the rivets out is what they were doing. I found it was a little more complicated because you had 3 in the back, and you really can't fully get a drill up in there with the bit and get them to drill. So I found what would be easier would be a cheap soldering iron from Walmart. Once you get those melted, you know, you start melting them one at a time. You use a flathead screwdriver and find you a tiny little pry point. You don't pry too hard, so once it starts melting, it pops free. From that point, as you see, you just slide it out from in here. Once you get that slid out, if we look, you pull that out, you have hidden bolts. You have a hidden bolt. Oh, a hidden bolt right here. There's a hidden bolt. There's one other old boy in a video for a Monte Carlo that shows you with the casing out. Pretty much same setup. Right up in here where you see my screwdriver pointing, right up in here is a 7/32 bolt. You're going to have to use a 3-inch extension with the 1-inch extension with a 1/4-inch swivel, and you're just going to have to take your time and get it out. I have my seats out to pull the heating duct underneath the seats out without breaking them. I was feet towards the rear seat of the seat, laying down in a down position with my head up towards the accelerator pedal, and pretty much upside down pulling it out. Got it broke loose with the ratchet and then spun it by hand with the extension and swivel because it was less complicated instead of keep using the ratchet on the extension and swivel and socket. So once you pull those, I think you might have 1 or 2 more rivets to melt, and I believe that should pop out. You'll want to drop it down. Just make sure you do have other rivets, you know, that needed to be finished melted out to make that loose. Now this is all loose. I'm going to slide it out, and I'll show you from that point where all your rivets are and where you need to melt them out, and then you'll have access to the heater core. This is the first piece once you get the dash console and all apart. I told you all I'd tell you where the rivets are. You have a rivet here, here, and here, which is setting up against the firewall underneath, tucked in behind, hard to get to. That's why I opted out to use a soldering iron, cheap one from Walmart. You also have a rivet here, a rivet here, a rivet here, and a rivet here. Like I said, it's easier when you use a soldering iron versus a drill, technically this sucker will be under the dash like such, and kind of looking, you can see that they will be complicated to get to. Soldering iron was better. Once you pull that piece down, you have this piece that is actually setting just like that up against the firewall, and you have to do a little extra melting because some of them are longer rivets. You have one here which is hidden, one here which is hidden. You'll have one here, you have one here, you'll have one here, you'll have one here. That's where one of the screws are. Once you pull this piece out first, this screw will be up under there, and then you have a rivet there. The other hidden screw, which is right here, this is setting up against the firewall on the driver's side by the accelerator pedal. That's where you have to use the 1/4 inch extension, 3 inch, 1 inch extension put together with the 1/4 inch swivel with a 7/32 socket, and pretty much be upside down. Once you get this piece pulled out, you will, in your firewall, have this, which is your heater core. It will actually be, let's do this here, it will be tucked up in there like such. You'll reach up in there and grab it, your hoses are already off, and you'll pull it out. When you have everything disassembled, you will reinstall everything in a reverse motion, just like you disassembled everything. A very long job. It took me 6 hours to disassemble everything without breaking but one item. Shop labor hours are roughly $65 an hour. Times that by 6 just for disassemble, another 6 for reassemble, plus your parts. They're gonna take the cost of the part and they're gonna tack up 25% on top of that. I'm not ASE certified, but I try to figure everything out that I can to save myself money, and this is going to be grateful to save me a lot of money. Plus it's going to keep my wife warm, the windshield thawed, as I'm still waiting for FedEx to deliver my part that they said that they didn't even attempt to deliver today when it was out on the truck for delivery. So 3 times in 2 months I've had a major problem with FedEx delivering items to my home. Don't want to let me speak to supervisors, nothing, because it's not a priority item. Really, 3 times. Note on that, don't use FedEx. All you get is an apology. That's it. Never mind of the complication. So now I'm waiting on parts.